Vinny told me, go grab this guy, bring 7, 8 guys with you, snatch him, and he's going to answer to you from here on out. So I went down to the city. He was going into the meeting. My inside guy tipped me off who he was. So as he's walking in, we surround him. I says, you Joe? Yes. I took his wallet from him. I said, come on, come with us. He says, no, I have to go into this meeting. And he's like, wasn't crying. He's just telling me he has to go into this meeting. I says, you know what? I'm going to go against my better judgment with this situation because I believe you. But look at these 7 guys here. So he looked at them. I said, if I wind up in jail, you set me up. The next 7, you won't know their faces. Vinny wanted him dead. I'm like, Vinny, you can't do it. He just had a kid. I'll control him. And Vinny thought about it. He says, I'm giving him a pass. Tell him to stay away from me. Pulled him up. Randy, do not go by Vinny anymore. Stay very close to me and stop it. Stop going out, drinking, making noise in the streets. Stop it. You're going to get killed. That week, he took an insurance policy out on himself. About 3 weeks later, he created chaos again. Vinny heard about it. He's going. Vin, leave him alone. He's going. That's it. Done.
Hey everyone, welcome to another Sit Down with Michael Franzese. Hope everybody is doing well. All is very good, very blessed on this end. As always, my friends, I give all the praise, honor, glory, and thanksgiving to our God for that. And yes, He is our God. You know, I enjoy having guests on this show. I think you call it a show, a platform, podcast, whatever it might be called. I do that. And you might have noticed that I haven't really had any other, quote, made guy that's been straightened out on this show. I've never interviewed anybody of that caliber on this show. Sammy and I have gotten together, but I've done it on his platform. He hasn't done it on mine. Not for any reason other than we just haven't gotten together. So for today, I am going to be sitting down with another former made guy. Although they say once you're made from life, you're made for life. You can't just say, I'm not made anymore. You may not be active in that life, but you still know the secrets and you've still been there and done that. So he and I are in that same category. Dominick Cicale. He was a captain in the Bonanno family. I, as you know, was a captain, capo regime in the Colombo family. And we met each other briefly. We spent about 3 hours together a couple of years ago in Florida. And we had a very nice chat, very nice conversation. And I got to like him back then. And we've stayed in touch. We've communicated. He has his own YouTube platform. He's built it up pretty nicely. I think he's got 175,000 followers now. He's got a good show. And he's got a pretty good thing going on. I'm impressed with him. He's got a very good work ethic. He's been able to turn his life around. He went through some rough times. And look, people, you know, I say this all the time, and we're going to get into this. We're going to get into a conversation about the former life. That's what this is all about. 2 capo regimes, different families, same lifestyle for that time. He was in a different era. He came later than me. It seems like everybody came later than me now. Anybody that was in my lifetime, with the exception of Sammy, they're gone. They're either dead or they're in prison for the rest of their life, unfortunately. So Dom came a little bit later, but he was on the streets in the 80s, and that's when I was getting ready to leave, got my prison sentence. But anyway, we're going to talk about some things that I think you're going to enjoy. Just 2 former capo regimes kicking it about the life and maybe telling some stories that I think will amuse you. And then we'll get into some things that are a little deeper. You know, people, I've said this many times. Are there things that I miss about the life? Sure there are. Are some of the guys that I missed? Yes, there are. But I call it a bad lifestyle. And I'm going to talk to Dom about that. I want to see what he feels about it. But that's really the way it is. And I really, really dissuade all these young people from gangs and getting involved in any kind of organized criminal organization, because on the street, you're not going to make it. You're going to either end up in jail or you're going to end up, God forbid, something worse. It's no good. And I think we both share that opinion now. So should be a good conversation. I hope you enjoy it. So without any further delay, my very good friend now, Dominick Cicale. All right, so Dom, I have to say this for the first time since I'm on this platform in 2020 during the pandemic. I've never had another made guy on the platform. You're the first.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
Wow.
Serious.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here with you.
Well, listen, I've been following you, and I appreciate, you coming out. I knew you flew out here from Florida. And I think you got a couple of things that we want to talk about. Some business that you're involved in that seems to be on the road to success. Could say that. But let's talk a little bit about the old life. I've never had the opportunity, and people are going to love this because they've never heard me speak with another made guy about my former life, or our former life, I should say. So let me ask you this. There's good parts to that life. There's bad parts to that life. People say to me all the time, Michael, do you have good memories? Do you miss anything? I said, yes, I do. I miss a lot of things about that life. I miss the camaraderie we had with the guys. I miss a lot of the guys, and people say, oh, come on, Michael, you're all doing bad things. I said, listen, sometimes good people do bad things. It doesn't make them bad people. There was a lot of good guys in that life. And there were a lot of guys that I didn't enjoy being around,
Right.
It was that simple. So let me ask you this. Do you miss parts of that life?
Yes and no. Yes and no. Your era, there was more substance. I feel that even though there was more treachery, there was more loyalty too. It was a different way of life back then. I caught the old life and the new, so I was on the cusp.
And your era was from when to when?
My era in the streets was from the 80s to, I got locked up in 1988 was my first case. My father's friend, who was actually, his father was a made member of the Genovese crime family. The guy, Ernie Colazzo, was a street guy, a thug.
Right.
And he wound up cooperating on me behind my back, not knowing, in a murder situation. And, then I went away, came home, went back to jail. But
were you straightened out in 88?
No, I got straightened out in 2000s, early 2000s. I lost from, I would say, 22 to 32, I was locked up. Came home for 5 years, got straightened out, and then in my late 30s to 40s, I was locked up again. I have close to 20 years in prison.
Mostly federal time?
Yes, mostly federal time. This is the first time in my adult life I was released in 2013. And I'm proud to say I don't even have a parking ticket till now. Like, I've really acclimated and turned my life around, and I can honestly say I'm a civilian now.
All right, quick interruption. If you really want to get some insight into me, and I mean insight, Zoom calls, Q&As, behind-the-scenes information, stories I've never told before, you want to become part of the elite, then join the family. We have over 1,000 members already. michaelfranzese.com/family. It's an offer that you shouldn't refuse. Now let's get back to the show. Let me ask you this before I go back, because I have a lot of questions, and you have any questions on me, fire away. But yeah, that was, my era, I would say really ended in 85, because I was in jail most of the time from 85 to 95. But I think it was different back then, no question about it. I always say this, the golden era of our life, in America was really from the mid to late 40s.
I agree.
Right through the mid 80s.
Yes.
When you have to give Giuliani either the credit or the blame for using the RICO Act so effectively. A lot of people have said it was John Gotti that destroyed the life, and I've said no. It was a Racketeering Act that destroyed the life in a big way, because it was just too much time, too much pressure.
Right.
The laws were too flexible to get guys. But, I think I lived through that golden era to a great degree, like I said, right up to the mid-'80s. But you said there's good parts and bad parts. What is it that you miss about the life, if anything?
I do miss the camaraderie. I miss just going out being recognized too. You know how if I walked into Rayo's, everybody, like, they know, they're here. Mm-hmm. And you get people, they come up to you just to greet you. They want to be around you. And it's a good feeling. I remember one time I'm sitting in the back. We're at a club. I have some of my guys with me. I'm a captain at that time. And people come walking in. They go to shake. I had a kid with me, Ace Aiello. He was straightened out. I sponsored him. And as they're walking in, they go to say hello to Ace. And Ace is like, no. Go pay your respects to Dominick first. So little things like that. It's just, it was nice. It's a nice gesture. It's nice to know you have that type of power. But I wasn't one of the guys that were power hungry as far as abusing people. A lot of people in the life, they get that power and it goes to their head.
Yes.
Me, the way I was brought up, I was groomed by guy Big Ernie with the Genovese crime family, who I love him dearly till this day. He's a father. He was my father figure, and he always taught me, show everybody respect, give everybody respect. It's not who yells the loudest that counts in this life. So I was groomed the old school way. But I missed the camaraderie, I would say. Just being around people, having a good time, having laughs. I mean, so many nights we would go out, all you do is laugh. The group I was with, everybody was capable, but nobody had to prove themselves. That's what I loved. And we were all secure with ourselves, what we could do. And sometimes situations came up and we would look to back away. You know, if sometimes they're unavoidable because people are drinking, that they'll keep on to instigate, and, you know, then you're forced to do something. But 90% of the time I went out, I had a good time, and that's what I missed. And then being in jail too. You know how it is with the Italians. Everybody's together. Even though there's politics that goes on, they're over a bowl of pasta.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, you cooked for him, but you didn't cook for me. Like, come on, really? I had cooked for you for 4 nights. 4 nights in a row you ate. I have to give him something.
Exactly. Well, I experienced that too.
But yeah, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that. But I really don't miss it. I don't miss it. And as weird as it sounds, because you're on call 24/7. Something happens, you have to step up to the plate. And all the work I did in the life, meaning whatever I had to do, was for the family. And yet at the end of the day, they turned on me. My boss, as you know, wore a wire on another boss who's talking about me doing illegal activities in the street. And that's what got me locked up.
Yeah. No, I understand that. And, you know, I mean, I have similar feelings, Tom. It's that I don't miss the life at all. Not at all. But because I tell people this. I said, listen, mob life, it's an evil lifestyle. Now, I want to be clear. I don't call the guys evil. I was one of them.
Right.
And again, why do good people sometimes do bad things? There was a lot of people I thought were bad guys.
Right.
And I think you know that. They just had a different head.
Yeah.
Different head. But if I'm asked about it, you know, I say, yeah, there's times that I miss. There's guys. Same with you. It's nice to be recognized in places that you go. You know, it's nice to be given that respect. And, you know, here's another thing. A lot of people believe that we had to push ourselves on people, that we had to, you know, force people to like us. It was really just the opposite. People wanted to be around us.
You know, it's funny that you say that. I was told there was a guy, Joe Zaleski. He owned the 3rd largest construction company in Manhattan, Chrysler Borg, at the time. Joe he wasn't around anybody. So Vinny told me, go grab this guy, bring 7, 8 guys with you, grab him, snatch him, and he's going to answer to you from here on out. So I went down to the city. He was going into the meeting. My inside guy tipped me off who he was. So as he's walking in, we surround him. And I said, you Joe? Yes. I took his wallet from him. I said, come on, come with us. He says, no, I have to go into this meeting. And he's like, wasn't crying. He's just telling me he has to go into this meeting. Please let me go into the meeting. And you know when you just feel somebody's sincerity? But he says, I'll come meet you afterwards, I promise. I says, you know what? I'm going to go against my better judgment with this situation, because I believe you. But look at these 7 guys here. So he looked at them. I said, if I wind up in jail, you set me up. The next 7, you won't know their faces. He said, all right, thank you. He met me. And I told him, I don't want money from you. I don't want a penny from you. I want to bid on your jobs. And my theory was, I'm going to shake him down, get a couple $100,000 a year out of the guy. Or maybe I could get his concrete work. I could get his brick work, carpentry work, where he's doing high-rise work. I can make 3, 4, 5 million a job, which now I'm not doing anything illegal. I'm stepping up to the plate with my construction guys, and we're making money. And that's the relationship we had. And it went on for about 2-3 years until I got locked up. But maybe about 2 years into it, and I never saw him on the job site. I would not burn him out, per se, because, God forbid, law enforcement's following me. I'm in Manhattan. It's Christmas time. I'm with my son's mother. Come out of a restaurant. All of a sudden, I hear, Dominick. I look, it's Joe. He comes running across the street. How have you been? Joe, I'm doing well. Thank you for everything. It's a pleasure working with you. The guys are great. Well, I want to introduce you to my son. He's on his college break. When he left me, I was like, wow, here's a guy. That's respect. It's not fear, because if he feared me, he would have just went the other way. And I treated civilians, okay, granted, I had to go into him because of the fact you're in Manhattan, construction, you know the way it is. It's mobbed up. But I didn't shake him down, which I could have. I could have got money from him. I wanted the opportunity. And that's the way I conducted myself with people who in the legitimate world. Now, don't get me wrong. If he was taking numbers on the job site, loan sharking,
Different story.
it's a different story.
Right.
But that's where, like you just said, there's people, they did respect me. They did respect who I was, the way I conducted myself, the way I acted. And, then again, if I had to be a thug, I could be a thug too. But I got more with treating people the way I would want to be treated. And
and I was pretty much the same way, Dom. I never had to impose myself on a business guy. I always tried to have a relationship with him, legitimate guy.
Right.
And it always worked out better.
Right.
Now, you're right. If there was a bookmaker on the street that wasn't answering to us, we tell him, hey, you can't operate alone. You gotta have friends, I was different. But even that we did the right way. I said, hey, it's a benefit if you're with us. It's not
You're right.
It's not going to go against. It's going to be a benefit. And it was. It really was. Because, bookmakers needed to work with us back then. My friends, you may not have heard, but I now have a wine branded in my name. Franzese wine. I'm very proud of it. It comes from the world's first vineyards. We have alcoholic wine and non-alcoholic wine, several varieties, fruit varieties. You're going to love it. Different than anywhere you've ever tasted before. So enjoy this with your friends. Go to franzesewine.com. An offer you shouldn't refuse, but a taste you're going to love. I was much the same. And then we had the other guys that, Sammy said something once, and I didn't think of it that way, but he was right about this. He said, there was two divisions of guys on the street. They had the gangsters and you had the Racketeers. And I said, you're right about that. The gangsters, when I got into the life, I said, you know what? I want to learn how to use this life to benefit me in business. Because if you use it properly, as you know, it could be a big benefit. Without strong-armed people all the time, it could be a big benefit. And it was a big benefit to me in that way. I figured that out. And I was fortunate I knew how to do it. Racketeer. But as a racketeer, we were called upon to do something. We still had to do what we had to do. But there were the other guys, and in our family, I think we had 115 made guys at that time, approximately. Maybe 20 of us were earners, Tom. Maybe 20, 25 tops. The other guys who had a no-show job, who was hanging out, trying to, eke out a living. They just weren't capable of using the life properly.
Right.
And maybe because they were the guys that were trying to strong arm people or whatever. And it didn't work out all the time.
Right.
That's how you get in trouble. And that's how you lose friends. You don't make them. So they did a lot of the grunt work. I'll call it that. And that's maybe a little bit disrespectful. I don't mean it that way. But they did more of the work than we had to do.
Right.
But when we were called upon, because you were a captain, I was a captain, we had to do what we had to do.
Right.
And I think people need to understand that because they don't really understand. There's so many myths about our former life out there. I'll give you another one. People said to me, oh, Michael, when you went to prison, everybody took care of you. I said, no, when I went to prison, everybody robbed me, quite honestly.
Michael, you hit the nail on the head with that one. It's a shame. It's disgusting. Very few people, actually, I'll name one. Oscar Ansorian. Have you ever heard that name?
No.
He came up with gas pipe and Vic. Very, very close. Armenian. Deadly, deadly, deadly. And you would never realize it. Short guy in stature, soft-spoken. Deadly. I mean, he was up there with Vic and gas pipe. twice a year they would send him shoe boxes of money while he was in jail. I was with him in Lewisburg. I got to spend time with him. That's where we built a relationship. But twice a year they would send him money throughout his years. I think he was locked up for about 13 years total. And he came home. They took care of him. And Gas Pipe had cooperated at that time afterwards, but Vic made sure he was well taken care of. And that's unheard of.
When my dad went away, his right-hand guy, little Joey Brancato, I don't know if you ever heard of Joey. He was before your time. He's dead now. They're all dead now. But my dad had a couple of things going on the street for maybe 2.5 years. After that, the money ran out. That was it. Nobody gave us a dime. Not a dime. That was one of the reasons why I got on the street.
That's sad. And your father was a powerhouse out there.
Powerhouse, you know. And I learned that. And Dom, when I went away, not to complain, I'm just saying what happened. You know, I had the Russians with me.
Right.
A couple of 3 Russians, Bogatin, Markowitz, and Lev Persitz. When I made the deal with them originally, they were getting shook down, believe it or not. No, I'm not sorry. They couldn't collect a $7,500 debt. And these were fairly tough guys.
Right.
Couldn't collect the debt. So they came to me, collected the debt. They had a gas brand called Gas Stop. And they had about 10 stations. So I went and met with them at one of the stations, and I said, where are you guys buying your gas from? And, you know, we got into the conversation. I said, I'll tell you what, I'm going to make you a lot of money. And I told them what you can do. You're going to buy on my license. I said, but here's the deal. 75% me, 25% you. Dom, I'll never forget. He looked at me and he said, Mr. Michael, in his accent, he said, that's not fair. I said, no, it's very fair. He said, what do you mean? I said, we're on the street. You're going to rob from me a little bit. I said, don't let me catch you, but I know you're going to do it. This way I don't get that mad. And I'll never, Dom, this was so funny. He said, let me think. He goes and talks to his other 2 partners, right? He comes back, he says, you got a deal. Just like that. But here's the bottom line. We were together for 6.5 years. Every week they brought me money, $1.5 million, $2 million. Every week.
Wow.
Why am I going to police them?
Right.
Every single week. We went to Florida together. I flew him on my plane. We were buying stuff together as partners. So when I left, I told them, I said, listen, you got to answer to somebody else. No, man. No, that's how it goes. You got to answer to somebody else. And I turned this over to my guys, and I said, listen, these guys are not punks. They're not real tough guys, but they're not punks. They're going to bring you money every week. Now, some of that was coming to me, right? I said, just don't bully them. You don't have to look in the cash register. Just let them bring you money. You don't even have to bother them. They'll do it. 3 months, gone. 3 months, Don. Something I had for over 7 years in the business. They blew the whole thing up on me. I don't even want to give the names of who, because, but just blew it up. Because they started,
right.
Yeah. And then one guy got killed. The other guy, they shot him up. They put him in a wheelchair. And the best guy, who we had a ton of money together overseas, he ran away. They chased all 3 of them. And that was part of, what we were doing then. But they killed it right away. It was a shame. And I
It was over greed, obviously, right?
Yeah, absolutely. What else can you attribute it to? I mean, look, if somebody's bringing you money and you don't have to worry about anything, and we're on the street,
just sit back. Yeah.
Just sit back and bring me. And this is 6.5 years. It wasn't like I'm testing.
Right.
This was over a long period of time. So I'm saying, what I'm telling people is, don't believe that. Maybe in certain situations, if it's a close family member or whatever, but you're on your own. At least that was my experience.
Yeah. No,
you're on your own.
Listen, they loaded up my crew, big time. You have, like you said, there's people in the life, they can't rub 2 nickels together. If they rub 2 nickels, they're not even going to get a penny out of it. Like, they just not capable. So what I would do, guys like that, I had auto repair shop. I would have construction, tile. So I would put them in charge of different businesses where they have an earn. Like my body shop, I had Ace in there, Anthony Aiello, giving him a salary every week, and I gave him 25% of the body shop. So I feel, you know what? You're going to be on top of it. Now you have a percentage. You're going to make sure everything's ran properly. It's not just a paycheck. And that's what I would do. I would put people in different situations to make them earn. And that's what makes you tight, and you earn a lot of respect from your guys.
You know what? When I had my crew of guys, not made guys, soldiers, but crew of guys, I never forget. I got them all together one day, and I said, "Listen, if any one of you want to get made, this is not the place for you." Well, what do you mean? I said, "I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to propose you. I'm not going to sponsor you." Well, why not? Why would I put all this work into you? Then you get made, and I lose you. You don't belong to me anymore. I'm going to make you money, and you're going to go. That's it. I said, so if you want to get made, no hard feelings. We're still friends. I said, but you're dismissed. Go wherever you want to go. I said, but if you want to earn money, then this is the place to stay. You're going to earn, right? Not one of them left. Because, look, money, at the end of the day, people want to earn.
Right.
That was it, you know. But, you know, that was my way of doing it. Some people say, well, Michael, that was, you know, what if a guy worked under you and did all the work? I said, well, they had an option. They could either go or they could stay. I wasn't holding on to anybody, but that's how I believed back then.
You know, that's what I do miss about the life, come to think of it. If I needed $1 million, $2 million, how do you want a cash check? You could get it like that.
I know.
That was
Dom, I miss that too. You know, I'll never forget the first time I borrowed money. I borrowed it from Andrew Russo. And I was still a recruit at that point, right? And I had this club on Long Island called Jupiter's. And back then, you can get, the best acts, and they'll work 3 nights a week, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for $3,500, right? But the guy that owned the place that I became partners with, his name was Columbo. I wasn't related. He didn't have any money, and he didn't know how to run the place. So I was going to get him the acts, but I didn't have any money either. I was on trial like 5 times when I was 20 years old. So I went to Andrew. I said, Andrew, I need 15 grand. I said, you'll make money every week, right? For the first 3 months, we lost money. But every week, I brought him money. Every single week. Every single week. From that point on, I learned one thing. I said, no matter what, let them earn. Dom, I could have got any amount of money I wanted for them. As a matter of fact, I'm going to confess this. When I was making so much money in the gas business, I would borrow money from them just to show them that I wasn't making that kind of money, you know, because, I mean, I was paying up what I had to pay up.
Right,
don't get me wrong. But word was out that I was making hundreds of millions, and I said, take it easy, guys. You know, I can still use a loan every once in a while. I would borrow when I didn't need to pay it back.
A smart move.
Well, yeah, listen, you had to be, you know, what could I say? You had to
be
creative on the street, right? Creative. But so let me ask you this: you get out of the life. What was it? Because you're straight. I see you have a different attitude about you, whole different attitude. Like myself. Part of it is, look, I look back. I did a lot of things, Dom, that I don't know about you, but I was very uncomfortable doing, but I did them anyway, because that was the life. And some of the things I regret, you know, especially somebody that was very, very close to me that got killed.
Right.
And I couldn't save him. And it haunted me for a long time. I still think about it. But that was the life. But I started to realize that things were wrong in that life, and I had to make a change. Now, I'm a Christian, so a lot of my faith came into this, obviously. And of course, my wife, you know. But I also felt, you know what, it was really doing some bad things back then. It's wrong. The life is wrong. And so I made a commitment to try to do the best. I'm not perfect in any way, but try to stay on the right path. You seem to have done the right thing. What was it that clicked inside of you that said, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. It's wrong. I want to play it straight.
I saw the handwriting on the wall. I was going to be the scapegoat. Now, to go back, I've killed people in the life. And when somebody asked me, how did you feel about it? Did it haunt you? I can't say it did. My victims were gangsters. They would have put a bullet in my head like that. Where I do have remorse and regret are the families, the mothers, the daughters, the sons, the grandparents, the aunts, uncles that suffered. That's where I have remorse, regret.
But let me ask you, and I don't mean to interrupt. Did you think about it at that time?
Only with one person, the last one, Randy Pizzolo. I saved him. Randy, stay away from Vinny Basciano. Stay away from him. Stay with me. If Vinny wanted him dead, I'm like, Vinny, you can't do it. He just had a kid. His daughter, I got close with the daughter, his family. I'll control him. And Vinny thought about it. He says, I'm giving him a pass. Tell him to stay away from me. Pulled him up. Randy, do not go by Vinny anymore. Stay very close to me and stop it. Stop going out, drinking, making noise in the streets. Stop it. You're going to get killed. That week, he took an insurance policy out on himself. About 3 weeks later, he created chaos again. Vinny heard about it. He's going. Vin, leave him alone. He's going. That's it. Done. I want him gone and somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it, and it killed me because now I have to. I have no choice. Otherwise I'm going to go.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Vinny would have killed me, but he would.
Yeah, no, I get it. No, and that's one of the tough things about that life. You weren't always in agreement with what you had to do, but we felt we had to do it. And how do you justify it? The way I justified things, look, we all took an oath.
Mm-hmm.
We all understood what we could do and what we can't do.
Right.
And if we violated that oath, things got bad. The problem is when people got killed for political reasons,
mm-hmm.
or for money reasons. I've seen that happen. I was, unfortunately witness to that, but that was the bad part of it.
To me, that's disgusting. It's that's the most egregious thing somebody could do.
But it happens.
Yeah, it happens all the time.
Happens.
A lot in that life.
But another thing I want people to understand, we weren't out in the street killing innocent people. When they say we killed our own, it's true, but we all had our eyes wide open.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, it was corrupted at times, and times the wrong things happened to people for the wrong reasons, I should say. But I always try to let people know, because sometimes, I'll be honest with you, Dom, I don't read all the comments. But every once in a while I do. And, people, you killed innocent people and this and that. And then once in a while I respond to that. And I said, no, you're wrong. We didn't go around killing innocent people.
Right.
And I'm not justifying the life. I'm not trying to cover for it. I'm not trying to say we weren't guilty of certain things, but we didn't do to the extent that the movies and everything else may show.
Correct.
And I do take, I don't know if the word is offense, but I am a little sensitive to that. I don't know if you feel the same way.
I'm the type, the hardest thing I ever had, hardest decision in my life was when I cooperated. Do you know it killed me inside? It was about 4 years after I cooperated. I couldn't live with myself. I mean, I would have nightmares. I'd wake up crying what did I do? I couldn't live with myself. And while I was locked up, I wound up finding God. I'm a Catholic. And it helped me. And I just learned to accept it. Listen, you turned your life around. Get over it. But it was so embedded in me. So when somebody calls me a rat, a snitch, or whatever they want to say, you're right. And I tell people, I took the coward way out. Because in my eyes, the way I feel inside, nobody twisted my arm to become a captain. Nobody twisted my arm to make money, to go into Rayos and act who I was. Nobody twisted my arm to do anything illegal. And I grew up, if you're set up by law enforcement, if your brother tells on you, your father tells on you, your mother, take it on the chin, go to jail, and that's it. Because if you can't do that, walk away. Get out of the streets. So that was my mentality. And at the end of the day, and I don't make an excuse, but here was my scenario. Joe Massino's wearing a wire, the boss.
I couldn't believe that when I heard it, by the way.
Vinny Basciano, the acting boss, they're in a jail cell. They're on a rooftop deck. Joe opens up the newspaper. Who killed this guy? Who killed Randy? Dominick did it. But Vinny's talking in this tone. Vinny's not on any, 2 wiretaps he's on. That's it. he was meeting somebody. So he's on 2 wiretaps. I mean, he was very cautious. Never spoke on phones, in the home, cars. We would go outside in the snow, rain, whatever it took. So here he says Dominick did it. And I was brought up, when something happens, even if the boss asks you, I don't know. Boss shouldn't be asking you those questions. Who did it? So then I get locked up. The acting boss out there, Michael knows Mancuso, he turned around and took all my guys from me. Now, you know, in the life, I'm a captain. I have an acting captain. I get locked up. That's my support.
Of course.
Until I'm found guilty, my crew should be intact.
Of course.
Within the first week, he broke up. He dismantled my whole crew. The Christmas before I got locked up, I collected about $365,000 from my concrete guys. You know, I had a lot of construction guys, so they kicked up at Christmas. The Christmas I was locked up, he sent my son's mother $3,500. And then we put the icing on the cake. Vinny was with John Gotti Jr. in MCC. They had us separated because it hit on the prosecutor. And Vinny, during co-defendant meetings, he said, Dom, Joe Massino, all the guys around him, Sal Vitale, Richie Cantarelli, Joey D'Amico, nobody knew me. So I'm from the Bronx. And I had a lot of legitimate businesses. Tell everybody there, all the bosses, because we had Arnold Swittieri, who was the boss of the Gambino at that time, Quiet Dom. I was with Ali Boy Persico. So he says, speak to them, let them know we have to change with the times. I got John Jr.'s backing, but you're going to take the witness stand on our behalf. Because it's not illegal to be in the mafia. It's illegal to commit a crime. They didn't have me for loan sharking, gambling, nothing. Nothing at all other than Vinny's conversation. Dominick killed him. I was at a net game. So we had a good strategy for trial. So I go around, I tell everybody. Dom tells me, you know you can't do that. I say, I know, but Vinny told me to mention it. And then I had Jeffrey Littman. Jeffrey Littman told Vinny, he's like, my client's not taking the witness stand. We're beating this case. They have nothing on Dominick. Behind closed doors, Vinny has me fire Jeffrey. And of course, I have to, you know, you're in their life. Long and short of it all, that's when I washed my hands, because here, if I testify on our behalf, not telling on anybody, but now omitting to everything, we wind up with time. Everybody in jail is going to say Dominick's a rat. I get on the street, who's going to sit down with me? They're going to say I'm a rat. So I'm in a lose-lose situation. So at the end of the day, I said, you know what? I'm done with this life. I'm not going to be a scapegoat for this guy. And that was the hardest decision I had to make, cooperating. And I don't use it as an excuse. I'm just, sometimes maybe I try to justify, if that makes sense. But right now, sitting here, the life I created, I'm glad I did leave that life, because for me, it would have been a revolving door. I would have been in and out, and it's not a good way to live.
No, look, for me too. We were such targets back then. But you know what, I'm going to say this. My dad, who was the most stand-up guy, as stand-up as anybody on the show.
I know he did a quadrillion years in jail.
You know, did 40 years, would never open up his mouth, nothing. But I look at that and I say, all right, that's something to be, you know, I hold my dad in esteem for that. I do. But I look at it the other way, and I say this. My dad was violated 5 times. The 3rd time he's violated, I said, Dad, you cannot stay in New York. I was a captain at the time. So you can't stay in New York. You can't even say hello to anybody. They violate you. Our family is falling apart. My sister is dead. My brother's a junkie. My mother and you, the relationship is terrible. My other sister is a basket case. You got to leave New York. Let's go. We can go to Florida. We can go to California, whatever. He didn't want to do it. As a result of that, he gets locked up. He goes back in. He gets violated 2 more times. And then he comes out and goes to trial and goes back in for another 8 years. So my whole family got destroyed. So yeah, he was a stand-up guy. But his actions destroyed our family. Because my dad was out 5 times.
Right.
You know, at one point in time, he said, hey, you know what? Okay, I got to take care of my family. And, you know, that was one of the main reasons why I left the life, because I said, I'm going to do the same thing to my family that I went through. I'm a major target. I was already indicted 7 times. How many more times am I going to escape? You know, Giuliani told me he's going to give me 100 years. Yeah, he said, I'm giving you double what your father got, was his words. I said, it's only a matter of time.
Right.
They hit me, I'm going to go away forever. And I said, I'm not going to destroy my family. So, yeah, it's great to be that stand-up guy. But on the other side, people like yourself, you know, they don't treat you right. And again, I'm not, and this, I'll probably get knocked for this, but I say what I want to say. I don't care. But I'm just trying to give the reality of the life. Yes, we take an oath and we're supposed to abide by it. But my gosh, if you're putting me in jeopardy and you're not abiding by the oath, now I have to worry about myself and my family. What's right and what's wrong?
Right.
You know?
You know, when I first came on YouTube too, and I would say, yes, I took the coward way out. At that time, I was talking with Sammy. Sammy said, Dom, stop saying that. No, but Sammy, I could admit, like, I'm the type of person, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I've apologized to people on YouTube. Like, I'm okay with it. That's a sign of a man that I'm secure with myself. So why am I going to not say, to me, I took the coward way out. That's it. It was my choice. At the end of the day, I stand behind it. Like, to me, I look at it, it diffuses everybody. It diffuses somebody continuously coming at you, but they still do it anyway.
They do it anyway.
And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I laugh half the times. I'm like, you know what? You're right. You're right. That I text Joey Molino, okay? And you know him. He's drops F-bombs every other sentence. Rat this, rat that, F this. So I text him. He says, who's this? I said, you know who it is. And he came back, yeah, I figured. Do you know, throughout the text, he did not drop an F-bomb, and he did not call me a rat. He just says, you know what you do is wrong. I said, I know. I make no excuses, but here's why. He says, that's no excuse. I said, you're right. And that was it. That was the end of our conversation. But he didn't drop one F-bomb to me. And, you know, and I look at him sometimes like, he is funny. He's some stuff that he comes out with, I laugh. But I used to be on that side. You used to be on that side of it where we frowned upon people cooperating. And, you know, at the end of the day, times have changed. There's no more of that. There's no more communities. I was just in New York, in my neighborhood. Went to do a lot of shoots throughout the neighborhood. Now it's summertime. I went to Hazel Towers, Wilkerson Park, Waterbury Park, Pelham Bay Park, Throgs Neck. Do you know, I did not see a group of kids on the street.
Oh, I know.
And I was in the morning hours. I went afternoon and nighttime. 3 days. I have over 24 hours of film time. There was, even in the park, I said, look at this. I'm walking around the park. They're filming me. The park is dead.
Those days are gone.
It's
everywhere. You don't see that.
And you know, the neighborhoods, that's what made communities. That's what made people interact with one another, to grow, to build, to learn. And you just don't have that anymore. It's different times.
You know, I want to go back. My only thing with Molino, I don't think it's productive for any of us to go back and forth on social media. If you got a problem with me, I'll gladly meet you. You want to say something to my face? Fine, let's do it. I just don't like when it's done the other way. That's me. And that's my, and they asked me about, I was on Vlad TV, Vlad, and they asked me about, naturally, he's going to bring up Joey Molina. You know, of course. And I said, listen, say it to my face. I'm very public. I go everywhere. I could be seen anywhere. I'm in New York. I'm in Florida. I'm all over the place. You got to beef with me. Come and talk to me. If you want. Now, be prepared. I ain't going to stand there. You know, let's talk. That's the only thing I have to say. I didn't even know the guy. I don't know him from a hole in one. I hardly know anything about him, you know. As a matter of fact, I invited him when he came on YouTube. I remember. Yeah, I said, hey, welcome aboard. I didn't expect what he said. But you know what? To me, it's.
But you're in a class above all of us, Michael. You created a platform. You have a demeanor. you are a class act.
Well, I appreciate that, but look, we're all here for whatever reason
Right.
we're on here, and that's it. But let me take it now. You've really turned your life around. You're home how many years now?
I'm home since 2013. This is the longest I've been out in my adult life.
Wow. And you've turned it around. You're in legitimate business.
Yeah.
You got a lot of good things going. And your latest is something that I'm not really familiar with, but you're educating me a bit, is with your coin.
Crypto, yes.
Crypto. Cosa Nostra.
Official Crypto Nostra, our thing.
Crypto Nostra, our thing. Okay. So explain it to me, because I'm a novice in this. People have talked to me about getting into it. I've never got into it, not for any reason other than if I don't really know something good, unless I research it and study it, I tend to stay away from it. But we talked a little bit. You're educating me a little bit. Tell me about it.
Okay, crypto, I love challenges in life. To me, this was a challenge. Crypto has a bad stigma.
Yes.
Because a lot of people get rug pulled. Rug pull is when people invest and then other people who are in, they pull all the money out and leave the other people broke with nothing. I wanted to create something stable. I figured I didn't see anybody in the mafia genre with a mafia themed coin. And my interpretation of the mafia, civilians, everybody's intrigued with the mafia.
No doubt.
They just can't get enough of it. So my theory was, let me create a coin with stability. Crypto Nostra, our thing. And as you well know, the mafia was created to protect its own from outside corrupt forces.
Correct.
Yet throughout the years, it became a corrupt force.
Correct.
So I have my audience, put everybody together, spoke to them privately. We went, everybody who signed up, we went on a Zoom. I told everybody my plans, what I was looking to do. They loved it. And my thing was having stability. If I could show stability, create an ecosystem, now we have something different. It's different because it's a mafia-themed coin, and now I'm creating stability. So we had a pre-sale, 400 million coins. We sold out in 6 days. We generated 150,000. That's what goes into the liquidity pool. That's what we started. It gets locked. We're on a Radium platform, blockchain. And that was our platform where we start. So on the open market, we had 325 million coins. Altogether, we minted 2 billion coins. That gets locked. So we did a KYC. We rated 98%, which is the top rate.
KYC meaning?
It means that everything's verified. So we can't mint any more coins. We have coins that are allocated for the gaming app, for the company, and coins out on the market. So with that, we figured, I said, let's come out with a gaming app that gives stability to the coin. We're coming out, that should be released probably within the next week.
And let me ask you this. Why does that give stability to the coin? If you come up with these different...
Okay. There's a website, it's called pump.com.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where somebody will go on for $2,500. You could put a coin on, and there's a coin out there right now. Well, I'll go to a different coin because I don't want to use the terminology of that coin. But there's coins that come out on pump.com. What they do is they pump it, they pull the carpet out, and there's nothing behind it.
Pump and dump.
Yeah,
where you should be on the stocks. Yeah.
Okay, with Official Crypto Nostra, you have my brand behind it. And by putting a gaming app, now I'm putting tangible things behind the coin. So we integrated the gaming app, Rise to Power. I'm creating a shopping center where from merchandise to memorabilia to A to Z, coffee products. We have fire extinguishers that are aerosol cans, all different types of products. And you get anywhere from 20 to 50% discount if you use the coin. So if something's selling for $100, I'm going to give it to them at my wholesale price, my cost, but you have to use the coin
right,
to get the discount. So with that, we have that. Now I'm coming out with OCN quick loans, where we're doing hard money loans at an 8% rate. Reason being, times are tough out there for people. So we're integrating, we're showing stability, we're creating an ecosystem. Even Bitcoin has not integrated all this, all these facets into what we did. We'll be coming out with a gambling app, and there's other entities that we're bringing in that will be coming out to generate. So we have a whole big ecosystem. And my motto is, we leave no man or woman behind. We are a family. I have about 250 to 300 loyal followers who are behind this coin on my YouTube page. So I tell them, we are a movement now. This is a movement. We're a family. We're going to grow together. We're going to build together. People don't know this. When Bitcoin started, their first purchase was a pizza. And at that time, it was 0.004, not even half a penny. And look at Bitcoin today. So I tell my followers, people, if you have $5 or $10, invest. Invest. Hold it. Put it away. You don't need $100. You don't need $10,000. $5 or $10, invest. Put it into this, because what we created, this ecosystem has not been done. It's totally new. So granted, we are crawling, walking, and running. We took the coin. We went from 0.00037 all the way up to 0.007, over half a penny. Right now, it's trading under half a penny, but we're stable. So our next push will be when the gaming app comes out. I have some outside investors that are looking to come in, but what we have created hasn't been done before. Then all my branding, my merchandise, I'm throwing everything back into the coin, into promotions, putting it out there, making people aware. And once we get that momentum, why wouldn't you use the crypto coin, OCN, official crypto Nostra, to purchase something if you're getting 50% off? We have a travel company where we're giving rewards, and there's a lot of things that are coming out.
Let me ask you a question. What causes the coin to rise in value?
The more it's used, the more it's traded, because it's out of my hands. I don't control it anymore. It's the market makers. It's the platform. What we are going to be applying for is going on Binance, which these are global platforms now. Binance, the futures. Right now, our valuation is a 10 times multiple. Once we're on the larger platforms, we're 100 times multiple, and the exposure is much greater. So once they see it trading, they learn about it, the ecosystem. You go on the website, domcicale.com, and you'll see the white page where it gives the whole breakdown on the coin, the holders, what we're doing, how we're doing it, how we're growing, we're building. Listen, a lot of people came out. That Jeff Nadeau came on. Dom, really? A rug pull? A crap coin, he's saying? He ripped me. So what I did was, I went back. When I tell people, I go on my channel, people, I'm going in a sit-down mode. This is a sit-down. When I go to sit-down mode, no profanity. And I called him out. Everything he said, I counteract. Here's the facts, Jeff. Here's the facts. Here's what it is. And people, they knock. And I like that sometimes, because it gives me more, I would say, more determination, dedication to prove them wrong, to move forward. And this was in the beginning. Now we went up. Now he turned around and said, well, Dom, you're down 20%. Yeah, but you're not talking about that. I'm up 600% from where we started.
Well, listen, the nature of these things, they go up and down everywhere. Right. It's like a stock.
Exactly, Michael. Exactly.
Well, I want to say this to everybody that's listening. The fact that Dom is explaining to you what a rug pull is, it would be pretty silly of him. He's not a dumb guy to plan something like this, right when he's telling you what it's all about. So I think, a lot of this has to do with the credibility behind it. Because I know some friends of mine that got involved and they were hurt by it. Unknowingly, by the way. Right. They sponsored it. They thought it was right, but they weren't in control of it. And that's where the problem rises. Right. So you're totally in control of this, correct?
We have the casino. I have all the cards. So
You
yes,
got everything.
I'm totally in control. And you know what, Michael? I've made money just like you in your life. Not on your level,
Wow, it's okay.
but I made money. And I look at it this way. I don't need to rug pull somebody and put 3 to 5 million in my pocket. I look at the bigger picture. What we created, the potential here can make us billions overnight. Just at $1. If we hit $1, we're valued at over $2 billion. So I'm not here for the short term. I'm here to build a legacy. I'm here to build generational wealth. Also with my followers, everybody who came on board. Like I said, hard work, determination, dedication, and we leave no man or woman behind. We're here with everybody. We are now a movement. We keep on moving forward, and I can't do it without my audience because they're my platform, they're my stability, and they love it. They feel like they're part of something. Like back in the day, your time with the mafia, you felt like you were part of something.
Yes.
That's what I want. That's what I want, where we protect each other from outside, from the Jeff Nadus of the world. That's what I've created. And I love it. I mean, I have people that come on for the first time. At Alan Kaiser's sister come on. I apologize for what happened. I told her not all mafiosos are like that. And I was very cordial to her. At the end, she thanked me, and she comes on periodically. She likes the audience that comes on, the family. And it's funny, too, because now somebody will come on and they'll talk crap, because I do a lot of lives. They go after them. I'm like, wow.
I've noticed that, too, on my platform.
And you know what? And I tell them, guys, please don't do that. Let them, if they want to speak, let them speak, as long as it's not. And I'm okay with the negativity, as long as it's not ridiculous negativity where it's over the top. Then I'll just block them. But
yeah, I'm the same way.
I laugh at it like, wow.
Yeah, they actually defend you.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. We have a lot of that, you know.
I'm sure you have a lot more because of your Christian faith, the background, and your followers.
Well, Dom, you know what I've noticed, and I've said this all the time. Audience, I'm sorry, it doesn't apply to you. Maybe it does, some of you on there. Social media has exposed the lunacy in our lives. Some people that they make comments that don't even relate to what you said in the video, and they come out of nowhere. So you got to dismiss it. You got to feel bad for those people. But yes, a lot of them, they'll run to our defense. Once they get locked in with you, they'll run. They'll understand that we're only here. We're here for a good reason, a bad reason. But what could possibly go wrong with this?
I don't foresee anything going wrong. So like I said, I'm holding all the cards. The company has 1,200,000,000 coins. So people ask me, Dom, 600 million of those coins are getting locked into the game. They can never come out. They're in the game secured. People can mine. They play the game. They're mining coins. At the end of a month, 2 months, if you have $10, $100, do what you want. Those are your coins. The coins that the company are holding, we have 600 million. I would use that as collateral if we needed something, or if I want to do another gaming app, if I want to do a casino. That's what those coins are there for. I would never put them back into the market because then I would dilute the market coins. So I would just hurt the company. I'm looking for the future. I don't listen, 3 to 5 million, that's a lot of money, but to me it's not what's the word I'm looking for? It's not going to make or break me.
No, and you know, in the process you destroy your reputation.
And I destroyed and something. So you know what, Michael? This succeeds to where I know it's going. I did something that nobody else has done. I created this ecosystem, this value, where eventually I look at it, my vision will be bought out by somebody bigger and they could take it. But I could say I created that. You know, granted, look at this guy. He turned his life around. And it also shows the kids out there, because I'll speak a lot to the kids. The streets are not your friends. The mafia is not your friends, because you're only as good as your last dollar you give, your last envelope. Where was the loyalty? I was a high-ranking member. When Vinny got locked up, I was second in command with Michael. That it got so bad with Michael, I sent word into Vinny, Michael is acting weird. I don't like it. Then he said, do what you have to do. If I don't get locked up in January of 05, I already had the hit team. Michael's going in February of 05. So the Fed saved his life. But what I'm getting at is, where is the loyalty? Where's the loyalty? There is none shown. So a kid coming into the streets thinking, well, they're my friends, they're this, they're that. They're not your friends, because once you're taken off the streets, everybody forgets about you. And there's so many legitimate ways to make money. Another, for instance, is, you remember your first day at kindergarten? When you went, did you know anybody?
No.
You were nervous, right? As a kid. Picture me at 44 years old. I went to Orlando. I had no friends, no money. Government gave me $25,000, pat on the back. My mother gave me $25,000, and then my wife, who I'm with, she lent me $50,000. And from there, it was scary, because I'm not a carpenter. Yes, I have construction businesses, but I don't do hands-on work. Just everything in life is a formula. So I knew the formula how to build a house, and it's scary not knowing. And from my past, the guy we were talking about, Yehuda Kaplan, Trump just appointed him the ambassador for anti-Semitism, and he'll be anointed or confirmed in September. I go back.
Confirmed now, but they ran away.
Right.
The Democrats. But
I go back 30 years with him, and he always believed in me, always had faith in me, and always there for me. I came home. He's like, calls me up. Dom, he's living in Miami. I have a construction job for you. Yehuda, I'm not interested. I'm doing entertainment. Dom, you can have the entire job. I'm not interested. Dom, it's 700 homes. I'm not interested. Dom, it's a $200 million job. I'll be down there tomorrow. I went down there and I worked there for 2 years and got me back on my feet.
Yeah.
But this is from a legitimate guy. So it just shows, go back to your first question, the respect. Like, people love to be around us, and I never abused civilians. I was always fair with them and treated everybody the way I would want to be treated.
It comes back to you. Oh,
yes.
Without a doubt. You know, my father always taught me, Don, when I'm from a little kid, he said, Michael, he said, be kind and be courteous and respectful to the little people. And he didn't mean that in a demeaning way. That was his way of saying it. He said, they're the ones that make you strong, not the guys on top. They're looking to cut your legs out. He said, those are the people. The valet parker, treat them right. You go into a restaurant, treat the waiter, the maitre d', all those people, treat them right. They make you strong. And then I watched my father put that into action. We were going to the Copacabana, and Bill, what's his name now? I forget the owner's name. Anyway, he treated my father better than anybody. And I watched how, he conducted himself. And he was good in that regard. And I patterned myself the same way. And it was really right. And then there's something inside of you, too, Dom, that wants to treat people the right way. It's part of your makeup.
Yes.
Not to be the other way. But anyway, let me, I want to say this to the audience. Dominick gifted me, I think, a million coins.
A million
coins, okay. Gifted me. I didn't expect
Well, that was your envelope that I had to kick up to the board.
Yeah, we had to do it the same way. But I want to say this. I'm going to hold on to them because I was very impressed by this conversation, and I believe you're really on the right track, and that you really want to make this work. And you're a guy with a lot of ability. So I'm going to hold on to mine, and maybe this will be another close to the gas business for me.
When we get up to 10 cents, have me back on, and we'll tell the people about 10
that's
cents.
The deal. When you tell me it's ready to go, that's when I'll let them go. But it was really good. Hey, this was a great conversation. It was a long time overdue. We will get together, but different things happen. But I appreciate it.
Michael, thank you, brother. I appreciate it. And really, thank you for being who you are, coming out on YouTube, because I do watch your channel. I try to emulate you as far as not using profanity anymore. I have my wife always behind me. Act like Michael. You see the way Michael is? He's a brand. No, but you know what? You should be proud of yourself.
I appreciate it.
I've never had that. I never had a father to stand by me or to tell me how to act. I had to learn the hard way throughout my life. So, but thank you. So I look up to you, and hopefully we could do this more often and we get to know each other better.
I would enjoy that. I appreciate it. Again,
Thank you, bro.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right, my friends. Well, there you have it. My first sit down with another made guy on this platform. And I enjoyed the conversation. I think we could have sat for hours longer. I'm sure between the both of us, we would have had a lot more to share. He's my guest, so I let him share the most. You've heard a lot from me, you're my followers. Hopefully we got some new viewers on here now. And go to his platform, support Dom. He tries to bring out some really good content. And so I urge you to support him and support whatever he's doing. He talked about his new endeavor into crypto. I want to make this clear. I haven't been involved in it. He was nice enough to gift me what he gifted me. You saw that. And I didn't ask for it. It wasn't part of the deal. He didn't buy his way in here, and I didn't buy his way in here either. So I want to make that clear because we get all these crazy comments. But I'll tell you what, he convinced me of his sincerity with this crypto deal that he has. He really has. It would make no sense for him to rug pull this, and that's what the expression is. If you're trying to load it up and then pull the rug out and take all the money, it would make no sense for him to do that. He's really publicly turned his life around. He has a platform in which he's turned his life around, and he's got followers that I believe he cares about, and he doesn't need to do this. And Dom is in pretty good shape financially. He doesn't need to do this, and he's not on the street anymore. And, as he's talked to you, when he was on the street, I think he did things on a little bit different level, like I did, to be honest with you. We didn't go and rob, mom and pop in stores like that. It wasn't our thing. We worked at a little higher level. My deal. I defrauded the government. I defrauded, insurance companies at the time. They were my targets. They had plenty of money. So what? They replenish it. And some of you can say, well, in a way that's hurting people. Okay. But you get where I'm going, And so I really believe he's on the level with this crypto. He really wants to make it his legacy, and he wants to build it to a really good platform and a way for people to prosper from it. I believe that after talking to him and talking with him both before on this. The only reason I didn't get involved is because I tend not to get involved in things that I really don't understand. And I've been asked to get involved in crypto before, but I will tell you this, if I ever do get involved, it's going to be with Dom because I'm going to research it more. But I do believe he's on the level with this. I know he is. So if you're interested in it, go to his platform. He'll give you all the information that you need. I wish I can get into it deeper, but I can't because I don't know how. But listen, crypto is coming up, and he'll describe it better than I. Look, I've had people I had a partner that wanted me to get involved in it. I just didn't have the headspace for it at the time. But support it, look into it, go on his platform, whatever you can do. To support him. And hey, if you make the decision to go along, good. I'm now going to get involved because he gifted me his crypto. So now I want to know what's going on. So that's the story with that. But it was a good conversation, and we hit it off well. And I think this relationship will continue, and we'll see where it goes. Hey, you know what? Back on the street, there was a lot of times we did help each other. If we had a connection that we can give to somebody, we had certain rules around that. Hey, if you do anything with this person, maybe you got to take care of me, whatever. That was the street. But we tried to help one another. And if Don can help me and I can help him, I think that relationship has started in that regard. So that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed it. Maybe we'll be on again. We'll talk about a few more things. If you have any requests that we talk about, we can do it. Maybe we can do it by Zoom. He's on the East Coast, I'm on the West Coast, but I'm sure we'll be able to communicate, in a way that would be pleasing to everybody. So that's it for today, my friends. How do I always leave you? Same way, never going to change. Be safe, be healthy. God bless each and every one of you. You know the deal. Your families, your communities, your neighborhoods. And yes, God bless America. I'll see you next time, and be sure to stay tuned. Hit the subscribe button, please, and enjoy Franzese wine. And pretty soon, you're going to see Slices Pizza everywhere. Take care.